Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping in to check out this sketchbook tour. As you can see, I've worked on a number of sketchbooks over the past 6 months or so. In fact, there's more than this, but these are mainly the ones I'm going to be working with. So this is a bit more like a 6-month performance review. So how am I doing, boss? Well, we'll just show you some of the things, and I'd love to get your feedback, and hopefully you'll enjoy some of the things that I have to show you today. People seem to really like the architectural sketching I was doing, and I really enjoy doing this as well. I'm trying to use expressive lines and some distorted perspective to bring out, some interesting feelings in different buildings that are pretty much just coming from my imagination. This one I was trying to really use some colors that I wouldn't generally use. I don't always use these kind of bright colors like this, but I felt compelled to do that with some of these. Although this didn't end up being much of an architecture thing, just this part here, but I wanted to blend in more man-made structures along with something that's a little bit more organic. So kind of like having those things together. Well, here's one that didn't make it to one of my videos. I don't know what it means or if it means anything. A lot of these things, they just pop out. I don't have a big plan for them. And another one, this one I was really trying to see how far I could go with the craziness of the perspective and still make it work. And this was a lot of fun. I mean, with the little creatures in here as well, and this really distorted kind of perspective. I think it ends up being a lot of fun. Okay, well, this one is probably one of my favorites. This is based on an actual building called the Spadina House in Beverly Hills, California. That building is pretty expansive though. It goes out here someplace, and so I simplified it a bit so that it would fit the page. And in this particular one, I think that the sky just really gives this a feeling and a mood, and I almost didn't do that, and I'm glad that I did, because I think that's what makes this one work. The sky that looks like it's about to break open and something maybe good or evil is going to happen. I really don't know. And I think this is, I don't know if this is the last one of the architectural drawings that I did, but kind of simple in a way, paring it down with this little cob-built sort of house and Bigfoot. Oh, there is another one, because I didn't show you the other Bigfoot one. I was imagining maybe he just got done waxing his Zeppelin and he's just relaxing, having a nice afternoon. There's another one. I didn't show this one. And another one with Bigfoot, or maybe Bigfoot's cousin, or I don't know, walking off with the little ice cream, probably thinking he's taking home a nice snack, and I think he's gonna be a little bit disappointed. Hopefully he doesn't come back and take over the city or anything like that. I really don't know. Let's see if I got all those. I had a dream, and I got thinking about tree houses. And in my dream, I had this tree house, but actually it was like a community. And this is a whole city up here. And I guess in this huge, huge, huge tree. I really like the colors on this one. It is playful, and I think with the wildflowers, it just makes it kind of happy, and yeah, kind of like that one. And here's one that I hadn't much of a plan. I had some extra gouache on my palette, and this gouache goes bad. It's an acrylic gouache, And if you let it dry, I mean, it's absolutely useless. So I used what I had left over to do this background, just kind of painted it on, and I didn't have any plans for it. Let it dry and sat in this book for a while. Overall, I really like this. I did this almost entirely in gouache and then did some highlights with some markers and some Posca pens. If you like those kind of drawings, I have a couple videos on that, and I encourage you to check them out. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those. Oh, yeah, there's another one. I keep forgetting. Here's one that I didn't do, or I haven't finished yet. I have an outline for it. Instead of a swing, I have a little fishbowl, goldfish. But yeah, this was one that I ended up really liking. I didn't have a clear vision of what I wanted, but I did want something that was really organic as far as the structure was concerned. And as I started drawing these kind of ovular sort of buildings or rooms, I started to see that it looked a lot like a beehive. And I kind of just went with that, and so I painted in these bees, and I don't know, for some reason this really, it gives me a surreal sort of feel to it. But I really like how the trees in the background worked out. I did this in gouache. Anyway, I think that worked out pretty well. Okay, I think that might be it for the architectural sketches. And in this sketchbook, I started out with some pretty simple drawings, kind of a line and wash sort of thing. And these are all based on crank call messages that were left on my answering machine. And I invited people to do that, leave crazy, nonsensical, funny messages, and then I would draw, you know, whatever came to my mind because of that message. That was a lot of fun to do. And by the way, there is a phone number that you can call, which is here, 1-806-618-8228. If you call that number, you can leave a message, and maybe I will do one of these drawings based on your message. A number of these were just a lot of fun. You just have to hear the messages. The images themselves are pretty simple and don't mean a whole lot, but along with hearing the message, you probably get a little bit more out of it. I did want to point out this one though, that I don't know if anybody saw it or if anybody even cares, but I named the freight company Schrodinger Freight. And if you know anything about Schrodinger's cat, sort of a thought experiment in the physics world, you don't quite know if the cat inside of the box is alive or dead, or actually is both alive and dead. Anyway, so alpaca in the box, is he alive or dead? We may never know. Last train to Clarksville. There's the thing. And if you call the number, this will make more sense, because the guy who talks to you in the message, in the greeting, is that guy with his jackalopes. And here's a picture. I don't know, it was a sketch. Actually, what happened was I drew this guy, and I didn't have, like most of these things, I didn't have a big plan or anything, but I had him drawn, and nothing was coming to mind particularly that I wanted to draw up here. And then I saw it this direction, and I thought, it made him look like maybe he was in distress or, something. And so, I don't know, I just drew this guy behind him, and maybe there's a story there. Okay, I think that is it for the sketchbook. Like I said, I don't do one sketchbook from beginning to end. Usually what I'm doing is I'll have different types of drawings. and I'll try to keep them together, or I have different types of paper. Like for instance, this is a black paper, and so obviously all the drawings I want to have on black paper are in here. So that's kind of why I work the way I do. This is just colored pencil on black paper, and I just love the looks of it. You know, you're thinking backwards than you usually do if you're using maybe graphite on a white paper, because there you're really working hard in the shadow areas. And this is kind of backwards. You're working hard on the lit areas. And this is really interesting, I think, to me, because as it is here, like I have this little floating island out here. And I think that, I don't know, to me, that's just really an interesting look. You know, that you have this shadow here and this little bit of light patch that just kind of comes out. I don't know if that would have worked as well if it had been like graphite on a white paper. So doing something like this is kind of fun. It's a little bit different. A little kitten, very fuzzy, and you can kind of see his little whiskers up here. And here's another one. Again, I really like this sort of style where I'm not showing everything. I'm hinting at it. You know, obviously we know that the face, the head's gonna kind of go off this page, but I'm really only showing part of it. Anyway, it's interesting, at least for me, for composition. I'm gonna do some more of those. I really enjoy that. See, I didn't think that I had done many drawings in the past 6 months because I've been spending so much time making videos and I've been pretty busy. But really, I did quite a bit. Not as much as I did the previous year, but still more than I thought I had done. So this is a spread of some musicians that I did some pencil sketches of. This was part of what was supposed to be the 100 Heads Challenge. Actually, you're supposed to do it in 10 days. There's no way I can do this in 10 days. I'm too busy. I have a full-time job. I work on these videos, and so I can do maybe a couple of these every week. If I'm trying to make Daniel Johnston look like Daniel Johnston, it takes a while to do that. And so anyway, I really liked his sketch. Jacques Dutronc looks just like him. That one worked out really nicely, and Eddie Grant. So this past February, I did a series of drawings for Valentine's Day. What I wanted to do was make a series of drawings that people could download from my website, and then they could add their own text to it. And you know, I had some ideas of how, you know, you might put on some text or some words. And if you want to check those out, there is a video that covers all of these, and some other drawings from the Valentine's Day thing. These cute little mice, and yeah. This isn't a style that I do particularly well, although I do enjoy it. I love it when other people do it. I mean, I have a couple artists that I follow on YouTube and Instagram that just do these really cute drawings, and I really enjoy them. I just don't do them as well, I don't think. But yeah, kind of fun. Some bees with a heart-shaped flower. I do like this one. It's cute. 2 peas in a pod, and I think with, you know, this flower and the way everything moves, it works pretty well as a composition, which not all of these did, but okay. Oh, the rabbits and the homegrown tomato. Oh, there's a song that said something like, you know, there's nothing better than a homegrown tomato. And I know in the video I talked about these rabbits, and if they were eating my homegrown tomato, I would have been pretty upset. So the idea for this one I thought would be, I love you from my head to my toes. Head to my toes. I do like puns. You are my favorite alien. That's kind of adorable. Other than if you take this out of context and you realize that this guy's arm here is about like 6 inches long, and this one is probably maybe 3 feet long. Okay. A friend of mine said that we don't have enough Valentine's Day cards with crows in them, and so I agreed with that assessment and I changed it. So we have a crow that can be used for a Valentine's Day card. But I like this one. It's pretty simple, the pen and ink, and with just enough color to give it some life. And yeah, I like that. And praying mantises. This is a story that probably doesn't end well, at least for one of them, if you know the habits of the praying mantis. But it is kind of cute with the little hearts and their dedication to one another for as long as that may last. Oh yeah, okay. So I am going to quickly review these. I had a pretty popular video on doing graffiti art, particularly with tagging, and I know nothing about this world, well, virtually nothing. And I kind of did a deep dive for a couple weeks on how to create a tag, because a friend of mine had an interest in creating one, and I thought I'd help out or, you know, have some ideas. And so I came up with a couple designs, and I got a little bit of pushback from people who are skilled in the art, and which they should. I'm glad that they did. You know, telling me, like, for instance, that this crown, you probably shouldn't put that up there. I mean, only certain people can do that. And so neither me nor Nolt, the person who I was doing this for, had realized that. He had wanted a crown in there, but that may not be the best thing to do. But anyway, I did enjoy the process of using some different types of like tagging culture to create these images. This is what they would call like a throwy style, meaning you just throw it up on a wall, quick and easy, maybe just 1 or 2 colors. And I was trying to work in this snail guy, which I have used for a couple years, just as it seems to be kind of something that's popped up in some of my quicker art. Had a couple variations on that, and this is a drawing I haven't gotten to yet. A little older man with a little hatchling, it looks like, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. You know, this is how a lot of my drawings start out. They are ideas that I will have maybe part of it, and then it'll sit there for months, and then I'll come back to it and say, oh, you know what really needs to happen over here is, you know, I need to put Bigfoot or something, or I don't know, whatever it is, a big octopus. I wonder if I did these at the same time, or I may have. Kind of older guy with the little cap on there. I don't know. All right, so that is that. So again, a different type of sketchbook. This one is a toned paper, and you know, this lends you some different options when you're using a toned paper, that you can work both lighter and darker than the paper, and it's a different feel when you do that kind of thing. This was something that I did a quick tutorial on, doing something called circulism, sort of like pointillism, and so this little caterpillar. This was a preliminary sketch for what I thought was a really fun story project that I did. I was inspired by another YouTube channel, Chikago Agawa. She makes some children's books and does illustrations. And I thought that I wanted to try that, although I wanted to go kind of dark with this. And I wanted to go a little bit towards more like the Grimm brothers or Edward Gorey, which don't always end up as nicely as your typical like fairy tale type story. So this was a preliminary thing to study how I wanted to do it. And then I went through the process of drawing a series of drawings that went along with the story that I wrote. And check it out, it's a lot of fun. I did use some voice changers to do a voice acting thing, so all the characters kind of come to life in it. And it's, I don't know, whatever it is, 10 minutes long or something. I don't know, I think it's pretty fun. This image will come up again for a different project. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit different for me. I don't tend to do series of drawings so much. And that's probably a good thing for me to do a series of things. I guess I did that with the architectural drawing ones, but I don't in general. But it really helps you to develop the skills that you're using on one of them. You continue to use them in another one, and then it become a little bit more, your hand starts to be able to work without so much frustration. So the story goes on. It has a lot of pages, but it really isn't all that long. I just did a lot of drawings because I'm more of an artist than I am a writer, although I like both of them. And, the story, if you're looking for a happy ending, this isn't one of those. The boy doesn't end up in the best situation here. This drawing is something that was in my head for months, probably before I did it, because I didn't quite know what to do with it exactly. This is an image that came to my head, and you may wonder, like, how in the world did this just end up in your head? This like skull guy in a hoodie with rabbit ears. I mean, not your typical image in your head. Well, I'll show you. It came from a bottle of hot sauce, which, by the way, this is really good if you want a good hot sauce. Oh, brothers, yeah. But anyway, I kept on seeing this this image right here in my pantry, and it's a donkey with these fuzzy ears. But when I look at it, I kept on seeing this as a skull with teeth, and these were eyes and not nostrils. And I guess my mind I was like, what is this? Well, it must be a hoodie. I don't know, But I think that's kind of one of the fun things about being creative is it doesn't have to make sense. And I wouldn't even have to explain this to you, but I feel like that might add a little bit more to this. Like, how did that happen? Oh yeah, this is one I called Half Head, I think. And in some of my other quicker sketches, I was doing a kind of I don't want to say a series, but maybe it was a series, maybe about 5 different heads that weren't completely completed. And I liked the look of it. And I just did a little watercolor of this. It has a little bit of colored pencil in there too, but, and oh yeah. So I guess this is part of that that series of types of drawings with the head isn't completely finished. And obviously I haven't really worked on that one to completion yet. I think I have a couple drawings in here. Okay, so this is one that I did. I believe I was working on this one at the same time as one of the Wordle drawings that was supposed to be kind of a woodcut sort of look. I like that. Oh, just stuff. Some other architectural sketches. Okay, yeah, quick. These are just smaller, quicker things. Oh, yeah. This sketchbook has taken a beating, and it's because I've used water with it. Let's see, some of these things are kind of pointless. Oh, huh. I don't remember doing that this year. I did a bunch of these last year, but I don't remember doing one this year. Interesting. Kind of like this guy. Almost looks like maybe a dinosaur or something. All right, what else? Oh, yes. This is probably one of my favorite drawings from the past 6 months. I got this really beautiful background, except for one little thing, which is that spot right there, red. What I'd done is I'd used some alcohol ink, and it didn't act like the rest of this. I was expecting it to kind of give us a reddish hue, and it didn't at all. It just dropped right through and just made a big spot. As I gave it more thought, I thought, oh, well, maybe I could use that as lips. And so that's really what sparked this. Is if I had the lips here, I had to build the head on top of it. And I love how this turned out. Using charcoal, I think it is just so moody, and I love the fact that it's not real pretty, and I think that works well for this. In fact, with the bubbles that you see here, which are also happening on her forehead, I think this makes it look like almost like light is coming through maybe some trees, and you're seeing the shadow and light. So it almost puts an environment in here. Okay, but yeah, you can see I haven't really used this sketchbook much because I've ruined so many of these. Well, not ruined. I have given myself future opportunities to overcome hurdles because of the paper, the water inks situation. That, see, like, this stuff is like, it's all, all right. Ooh. Oh, okay, yeah. So a lot of these I did to my last sketchbook tour. I'm not going to go through that, but there are a couple in here that I haven't gone over. I don't do a lot of abstract art, even though I really like it. I enjoy abstract art, so I don't know which direction it goes. Some of the nice things about abstract art, there's probably not a right way. For both of these, I had put India ink on maybe a thread. I don't remember exactly how I did each of these, or maybe some nuts and bolts and rolled them around or pulled them through, and ended up with some patterns that I had to work into some sort of art. And I like the process of having some randomness that you have to find some order in, or to build some order in, even if you end up with a little guy with a ball nose. Oh, but this one I do like. I like this one quite a bit. This was also in my ink and bubble period. In general, what had happened is I had put some bubbles with some ink on the paper, and it left some blobs, and I needed to come up with something from it. And I just started to see a face in this area, and so I just built that out and ended up with this kind of, I want to call it a mage, or I don't know, fortune teller, or something like that. And I just really like what happened, you know. This one was in gouache. I was using gouache as my, I guess, underpainting, and then used some watercolor on top of it to kind of change the tones a little bit. So this was the flip side of the gouache. Which one? This. I used gouache as the underpainting and put watercolor on it. This I put watercolor down first and then put gouache on top of it. And that's a little bit more typical of how you would use gouache and watercolor together. I was able to, you know, get some nice highlights with gouache, like in the eyes, just kind of pop those out. And I have a video on this. This guy's name is Norman, and it is a bit of an unusual perspective looking up, which is not usually a very flattering pose, but I think he ends up looking pretty stately for as humble and normal common man as Norman is. I love to do drawings where I'm distorting normal proportions, and something I'm probably going to be working on soon, I hope, is to work more on caricatures, maybe along this line, not like crazy cartoon caricatures, but more lifelike sort of paintings and drawings, but really exaggerated features. Circulism. This was another example of using just circles of color, circles, all different colors. But when you see them together, all blended, it, you know, you kind of get a tone. You can get some nice variations of colors and gradients, and yeah, it's a fun technique. I like it because it's soft and a little bit dreamy, and yeah, I like it. This is one that didn't really work out well. So this is the same pose as this one here, and I wasn't happy with either one of them particularly, but I did another attempt and I used that pose. Okay, so this one, oh man, this is a drawing from one of my least well-received videos. You could read that as being a pretty unpopular video. You know, there's one thing that I will say, I take a lot of risks artistically. I'm not gonna do the normal thing typically. I mean, I'll do that, but not all the time. And so what happened with this is I was feeling sick, very, very sick, and like to the point like I couldn't even think straight, and my voice was not human. And so I wanted to kind of draw that feeling that I was having. I kind of felt alien, so that's kind of what's happening with this egghead sort of thing. And what I was trying to do is like keep only part of this in focus, and then the rest of it kind of get unfocused as you went away from that. I don't know that that was really successful, but if you like something a little bit weird, look that one up. And oh, some of my 10 heads or 100 heads I'm working on. Those will be in a future video, probably really soon. I'll probably get a couple of those up and running. I forgot there's some more in here in the back. Oh yeah, okay. This was a lot of fun. It was frustrating to get to this point, but by the time it ended, I'm like, oh, that was a great experience. But in general, this was kind of a tribute to the total solar eclipse that was happening in my area. And it was the first time I'd used gold leaf, which you see here, which I thought was kind of fun. And it just happened that a lot of times will do this kind of stuff. I just had some extra paint and a little bit of the gold leaf, and just trying to make something out of it. And I guess a little gouache armadillo. I don't think I've shown that on any of the videos either, but I'm starting to think I need to maybe not show everything, because there really is quite a bit. This video is going to be too long. Maybe I have to do this more often. So this is a project that I did. And you can probably see it here, that it's a QR code. But I didn't let you see that when I was drawing it. There's little drawings all the way through here. You know, a little octopus that seems to make an appearance every once in a while, and a little ghosty guy, and I like this little, I don't know, French guy with the beret. I think it was an interesting idea. I don't think that it worked out real well, but you know, if you don't try stuff, you won't know if it works or not. I was working with alcohol inks and Yupo paper. Actually, I don't know if this is actually Yupo, but it's a synthetic paper like Yupo. And using variations of masks and different interference things, like on this I used oil to kind of separate some of the ink. I think some of these I haven't even shown on my channel before. This one was done on glass, and if you do it right, you can shine light through it, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a different effect. Here's when I was using chains as sort of an interference as I was burning the inks. I know, it's not in a sketchbook. These are on tiles, and this one is done on travertine, which is a calcite stone. This is something that I haven't seen anybody do. Yeah, probably somebody has, I just have never seen it before. So what I did with this is I used an acid. I used some masking, and then I put acid on it to etch the stone. And then using inks on top of that, I was able to maintain this really nice sharp edge, but then still have that soft color that happens with alcohol inks. An interesting discovery. I didn't know if it would work, and I think it didn't work exactly as I thought it would, but it did work, I think. So I'm pretty pleased with that. One of my books of screen prints, usually my test prints, although I did this one backwards. This is not my test print. My test print is the actual t-shirt that I made. I was doing kind of a quick and dirty screen printing thing using photosensitive diazo. That stuff I think was just old, and it wasn't working properly, and so I lost all the detail in the fur, and these lines here, they used to be like just little pen lines, like about that thick, and everything kind of went away. The overall look of it still is pretty effective, I think. If you remember, oh, there it is. Okay, so that's that. Originally, when I had drawn these, and the reason that I used the toned paper was that I wanted part of this to be white. So I'd have basically the three colors working together, the black, the toned paper, and then the white. And so this is more in line with the idea that I had for this, but I just ran out of time. I had to do this within like a week. This was kind of the idea that I was going for. Still kind of an interesting looking image. You are an allegory. If you want to know more about that, check out this video. It is a fun voice acted little sort of children's story. So this is a little wooden toy that I made in celebration of having 500 subscribers. This used to say 500 here instead of Sketchbook Tour 2024. Actually, this one, when you turn around, says Mid-2024. And I don't mean mid as in how the young kids talk about something being mid. I'm saying midway through, okay? Just so there's a clarification. But this is a lot of fun to put together. Some gears here that make these things, make these guys little dance around. Made the little creatures out of polymer clay. And yeah, it's called a wooden automaton. And I've made a couple of these over the years, and they're kind of fun, a little bit different and fun to put together. So, but this was one of my art projects for the year, so I will present it to you, even though this is in no way in a sketchbook. Well, that will wrap up my sketchbook tour showcasing the last 6 months of artwork. I hope you enjoyed getting an inside look at my creative process and the journey that these sketchbooks have taken me on. A huge, huge thank you to everyone who's watched until the end. It really does mean a lot to me. And if you did like what you saw, I'd be so grateful if you could give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps get my work out there and allows me to keep making more sketchbook tours and art videos for everyone. Speaking of which, let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see, whether that's different art techniques, behind the scenes looks at my process, art challenges, or anything else. I'm always looking for new ideas to explore. And again, thank you so much for your support. Being able to share my artwork with all of you brings me so much joy and motivation. So here's to many more sketchbooks and creative adventures to come. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.